Well, I did one last year, so feels only fitting I do another one this year. Yep, that's right, it's 2012 in a nutshell from me, Headphones UK. Now before I start, I should point out that this year I've been rather uninvolved in the mainstream media, so because of that I'm going to completely skip video games, unlike last year where I had a small segment devoted to my favourite games. So I'd like to point out I have played some of the big hitters like Halo 4 and some of the others that were released, but I won't be doing any summaries of them because I didn't play enough video games this year to get a good idea of the general idea of what video games were released this year and what were good and what were bad. I will give a shout out though just to say that Double Dragon Neon was my favourite game that was released this year. So with that, let's go straight to the movies and TV shows that were released this year. Now, if anybody knows any movies that were released this year, especially considering what one of my favourite movies was last year, everyone will know that this movie will be on that list. This is Avengers, yes, and I did see it in 3D and 2D. Saw it twice in the cinema, and I will say that it definitely saw to every expectation it could have had. It was amazing. There was just the perfect blend of all the movies that have been released. Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Captain America, and of course incorporating the characters like Nick Fury, Black Widow and Hawkeye. And of course there was Loki as the villain, which was good, but I thought, just saying this, Red Skull probably would have made a better villain, just saying. But yeah, it was a very good movie. I definitely recommend it, and probably was the best film that was released this year. It was definitely my favourite. But definitely a close second, and this is the last box I've got to show off, is this film. Now some American viewers, if I have any, which is probably not, might not know what this film is. This is called Pirates in an Adventure with Scientists here in the UK, but in America it's simply called Pirates Band of Misfits, just to clarify any confusions there. Now, if you look at have a good look at the box art, you might be able to figure out that this was made by the same guys that did Wallace and Gromit, and it was. This is Aardman Animations, which was in conjunction with Sony Pictures. Now, I'm a big fan of Aardman. They're probably the best stop motion studio going at the moment. I love Wallace and Gromit. I liked Flushed Away. I didn't see After Christmas last year because it didn't look like the kind of Aardman film that I would enjoy. So I skipped that and I decided to go straight for this, and it was definitely worth the wait. It's a very, very fun movie. If you're not a very big fan of British humour and not exactly very aware of the kind of British stars we got in here, because it's like Hugh Grant, David Tennant, Imelda Staunton, so many. They even have a cameo by Brian Blessed that just gives you an idea of how British this film is. So yeah, it is a very British film, but Jeremy Piven and Selma Hayek are in this, but they only have probably about 5 lines and 5 minutes of screen time collectively. So definitely watch this if you're into British humour, because it is such a British humour. It's very Blackadder. A bit of Monty Python in there. It's definitely got some humour that fans of that show will definitely enjoy, but it's got a lot of what made Wallace and Gromit and Flushed Away such great movies and such great spectacles. And of course it's just fun to watch the animation. It's probably Aardman's best animation yet in a movie. So that's the last one of any boxes that I own of movies. Moving on to ones that I saw this year but I don't own. There's of course Amazing Spider-Man, the other great Marvel movie that was released this year, a few months after Avengers. It wasn't as fun as Avengers, but I will say it was a very fun movie. Andrew Garfield is definitely a much different Spider-Man and a Peter Parker than Tobey Maguire was. I'm not going to say he's better than Tobey Maguire, because to me Tobey Maguire was how I always pictured Spider-Man being in real life. He definitely fit the role perfectly. He was good, and he definitely brought something different to the table, but he wasn't amazing. Who was amazing though was the lead female and the lead villain. I can't remember the actors' names, but they were amazing. They're probably some of the best actors I've ever seen in a comic book movie. And as far as a comic book movie goes, it was very dark. It was actually rather gruesome, especially kind of the stuff that happens near the end, which I won't spoil, but it's definitely worth watching just for the ending. It's very good, though admittedly there is some contrivances that get out of the way just to sort of move the plot along, but it's worth it at least. And of course there's the big superhero movie, apart from Avengers, that came out, which was of course Dark Knight Rises. Now I just want to point out that there is of course the unfortunate news that happened in the USA where a man went into a screening of Dark Knight Rises and shot down several people. I just want to give my condolences to anybody involved, and I just want to say that it's a tragic event and I really hope it doesn't get repeated. But anyway, with the movie itself, with that kind of controversy out the way, it seemed a lot of people were sort of wavering with this movie. They didn't really know what to say. They didn't know to say if it was a masterpiece or if it was just something that we'd seen already twice before. But I will say this, I loved it. And I will say also that from the last two movies, which I have seen, I didn't really like those the whole much. I mean, granted, I love Heath Ledger as the Joker. Ra's al Ghul, played by Liam Neeson, was really fun. But I don't really like Christian Bale as Batman. And it's not just the voice, because I've gotten used to that. It's just that he doesn't quite feel like he's getting into the role like Michael Keaton or even Adam West did. Michael Caine as Alfred is good, and Morgan Freeman as the inventor. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name either. They were great. But I really felt much more of an urgency in this movie. It felt like stuff was actually happening, much more so than it was in the other movies. And I'm not saying the other movies were boring, because stuff did happen. But in this one, Gotham City gets annihilated. I mean, he doesn't get completely wrecked, and again, I don't want to give spoilers, but they pretty much make like Gotham into the Arkham City from last year's game. It was amazing, and Bane was good. His voice was a bit hard to understand, but it was very intimidating. I kind of like Anne Hathaway as Catwoman, but she seems like a bit of a dick more than she does sort of a sleek cat burglar kind of character. I mean, she literally steals from a crippled man without even saying sorry or even acknowledging that what she did was bad. She just literally steals a crippled man's dead mother's jewellery and then runs off. Despite that, they still make her likeable because it's Anne Hathaway, it's hard not to like her. But, yeah, that was pretty good. I will say that I haven't seen The Hobbit yet. I probably will, and I might do a separate review just to make up for the fact that I haven't seen The Hobbit yet. But I haven't seen it yet, so if it's good, I'll do a review. If it's not good, I'll do a review. If I don't think it's that important, I won't. But trust me, you'll probably see something about me saying something about The Hobbit at some point later on. I'm trying to think, as far as other films goes, there was Rise of the Guardians I saw a few weeks ago. That was pretty fun. It was very interesting take on the whole idea of mythologies and holidays that kids believe in. It was interesting. It was definitely a very good Christmas film. Technically it's a Christmas film, I suppose. I don't think there's anything else I can really mention. I think that's really much it. Oh, Frankenweenie. Tim Burton's Frankenweenie. That was a very fun movie. That's definitely worth seeing, and way better than any of the others that he's released the last couple of years, like Dark Shadows or anything like that. Definitely worth seeing, and it was a great movie to see on Halloween. So, I think that's all for movies. As far as TV goes, of course, there was the new series, well, half series of Doctor Who, which was amazing. Again, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but the stuff that happens in this is incredible, and it really shows how the writing team, particularly Stephen Moffat, can take a concept with time travel and going all across these different planets, and really manages to utilise them to their fullest. Again, it's a half series, so they split it up between last year's series and this year's series, with the sort of the Christmas special wedged in between. I like the Christmas special, but I don't think it was as good as 2010's Christmas Carol, which I have to say, I don't think many people disagree when I think that's probably the best Doctor Who Christmas special, if not the best Doctor Who episode that's ever been made. At least in the modern series. Last year's Christmas special was sort of meh. It didn't quite make that much sense, so I didn't quite like it. So 2012's Christmas special was better than 2011's, but it wasn't as good as 2010's. So just throwing that out there. That's pretty much all I can say for TV. I think. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can say. There's not much else I can mention. I mean, of course, there was the Olympics. I didn't really watch much of that. I was halfway across the ocean when it began, so I didn't really bother trying to catch up. But from what I saw, it looked incredible. It really looked like probably one of the best Olympic seasons we've had in the last, 18 years? I mean, I've been alive 18 years, so that's all I can really give my perspective on. But yeah, we had the Olympics, which was pretty good. So, yeah. So, well, with me, I've been around on YouTube for almost 5 years. I mean, it'll be 5 years next month. I'll be doing a 5-year celebration with having 5 individual music videos based on my favourite bands from the 22nd to the 27th of February. I probably won't be making many more YouTube videos after that because I've got studies, I've got university to worry about. I pretty much am my own man now. I have to look out for myself. So I'd like to thank everybody for supporting me, all 20 of you. It's been rough. I don't have that much popularity, but for the people who did watch my stuff and the people that did enjoy it, I really want to thank you. And from the rest of me that you'll see next year, have a good 2013.